Hey, Dr. Tom Hansen here with a little slideshow on the yips. What are the yips and how do you cure them? It's sort of a state of the yips address. Here in 2014, I've been slammed for the last 3 months working with people, mostly baseball players throwing, but I work with a lot of golfers and people in other areas as well. So don't let anything about the sport or the activity defer you here from listening to this and perhaps getting additional videos. If you just click to the right, if you're at yipsbegone.com, you can see where you can get a bunch more free videos, and that's the first step really in toward working with me to fix the whatever problem that you might have, because it doesn't really matter what you do from a skill standpoint or from a physical behavior. It's the underlying emotions that are the key. So no matter what you're having trouble with, hang in there a few minutes. But bottom line is on this, I think you have a deep unconscious belief that throwing or putting or chipping or driving or whatever is a threat. Is a threat. That's the bottom line, and we'll double back to that in just a few moments. So how it shows up, something that was really easy is now really hard. Something that you love to do, you now dread. There was one word that I would pick that I hear a couple of times a day from people in our introductory conversations where we're just talking about what's going on for them. They'll use the word dread. And so it's a heavy feeling maybe in your stomach or chest that it's like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. And then when you do the activity, there'll be either a lot of tension in your hands or a lack of feeling. It's like, well, I feel like it's someone else's arm. I can't even feel my arm. I can't feel the ball. I can't feel the club. I can't. So it's like a hyper grip or it's a loss of feeling. And we'll get to why that is in a moment. It messes badly with your focus and you just really choke badly. Quick run through on who I am before you invest any more time. I have a PhD from the University of Virginia in education, specializing in sports psychology. So I'm not actually a psychologist, but it's like a PhD in PE, focusing on how to think about sports to get the most out of it. I was a college professor and head coach before I started my own business, working full-time with executives and athletes. I worked full-time with the Yankees in 2001, founded yipsbegone.com in 2008 after I discovered some techniques that could help with it. Otherwise, I was pretty helpless. I used to, back, when I was in this part of my career, I really couldn't help people with the yips. And then I came across a technique and have now combined it with other things to be able to help people. Otherwise, previously I just provided what I called hospice for, in other words, make you feel better while your career ended. But now I've got a really great track record, not unbeaten, not, oh, I've got the fix and I can fix you in a heartbeat. I don't think that exists. If it is, I'm going after it because I'm a pragmatist. A pragmatist means I do what works. I find what works, and no matter what world it comes from, I'm looking for a solution for this, and I'm getting better and better and better. And that's why when you click and you get all of my other videos, you'll see me talk about some different things. You can watch me evolve over the years in some of the videos of what I'm saying. I don't totally disagree with anything I've said in the past, or I'd pull it down, but I'm very much a pragmatist, going after, figuring out here what works. I'm very Western, as you'll see, in a lot of ways, and then ultimately, well, not ultimately, but also extremely Eastern in my approach. So it's a very eclectic approach. So let's take a look at what's going on here. Some fun facts that I think you need to know. Your brain, the conscious part, what you can think about and make your choices, is about 10%, and the unconscious is about 90%. We like to think that that's reversed, but it's pretty clear that it's not the case. And the number one priority that your brain has is safety. That's why you and I are still here. Our ancestors championed safety instead of anything else. And so you have to live to fight another day, live to do whatever you want another day. And so it's safety first. And the CEO of safety, who's in charge of safety, the unconscious brain. Because if you had time to think, if you had to think all the time about safety, at some point you'd forget and you'd get killed by something. You'd maybe stop breathing, or you would be blowing right into a bunch of some activity that just seems really fun, and you get killed. And that does happen, of course, but still, But for the most part, we're here because our number one priority, and it's run by the unconscious brain, is safety. So the 24/7 question going on in your head and my head is, am I safe? Am I safe? Where does the brain get the answer for this? I have a term called the inner umpire. And the inner umpire is making this decision. I'm safe. I'm in danger. I'm safe. No, I'm in danger. No, I'm safe. I'm safe. And basically, it's taking input from your senses is compared to your beliefs. So input coming in from your senses is it compared to your beliefs. Hey, based on what the info is coming in here, well, okay, look to my beliefs. Am I safe? Yes. Well, we'll get to that in a second. So beliefs are created by experiences. You have an experience, and then your brain categorizes it and chronicles it and bundles it with other experiences to keep ongoingly creating beliefs. Are like rules that your mind uses to operate to make faster decisions. If we had to think and take every experience as a unique one, we wouldn't. We'd function a lot slower. You know, you walk into a few buildings and then your mind starts to think, well, when I see something that looks like this, it's safe. So, because I've seen other buildings, and so it's these generalizations that that run our behavior. And what's happening right as you make a throw or putt, it's saying, hey, based on my beliefs, which were formed by my experiences, am I safe or not safe? That is going on. So if you're throwing the ball, as you're bringing the ball back, your brain is going, am I safe? Am I safe? And if it says safe, well, then you have freedom. You think of when you've thrown or putted or chipped or whatever your best, that's a sense of freedom and joy, and you have access to your talent. All right, I'm safe. If you're so you can let it rip. If I'm not safe, then this fight, flight, freeze, or fail comes in. Fight, getting ready to fight. We're really not designed to play our sports. We're not designed for this modern culture. That's our number one problem overall. That's why we're so fat, is we're not designed to have McDonald's and other food so readily available. But that's a different talk. So we're ready to fight some bad guy. We're going to run like heck. We're going to freeze so that nobody sees us. That's why we stop breathing, so that nobody sees us and we can really hear. And we get a lot of tension, or we get a lack of feeling like in your fingers, because the blood's going to the bigger muscles where it's needed to do these things. So that's the problem, is that you're not designed to play baseball or golf or whatever it is. You're designed to hunt and gather. And so if there's a perception of danger, all these things kick in and it messes with your game. We just haven't, as humans, evolved fast enough to keep to with our own culture. So if you're not safe, you choke, and you choke really badly, in other words. So here's one key, though, that your body is, you don't really have a problem. Your body is responding perfectly to the data that it is given. If you're in danger, it should respond this way, at least thinking that you're hunting and gathering. So I always think of it as if there's some condition where you can chip or putt where you don't have this problem, or you can throw a ball where you don't have this problem, then your body's functioning well. You can do it. It's just that the data that it's using is saying that hey, this has happened before, so it's in danger. So you have danger, so tighten up. That's the issue. And it's really on a continuum. The yip, I don't really have a diagnosis for you. If you've listened this far, then you probably have it. But it doesn't matter if you have the yips or not. If you're playing way down at a really low level, then you have something that is in your way. That needs to get cleared out. I don't worry about whether it's the yips or not. Are you playing as well as you want to play? If so, then you're way up here in love and freedom. Yeah, it's awesome. Go for it. If not, then you're down here and something needs to change. I don't care what you call it. Here's one more way to look at it. My pyramid of performance. Um, I'll go through it pretty quickly, but I think you'll get it. Here's a result. Result above the red line is what you see. You see the result, and in physical, it's like, well, I threw the ball into the ground. Well, you hung on too long. Coach is like, let go of it sooner. Oh, yeah, okay. And then you throw it over his head, and you're like, oh, well, no, don't let go that soon. Anyway, so it's a physical thing, and that's really happening. But the coaching you get is almost always going to be here about, oh, you're not doing your arm this, or your hand this, or you're not some physical thing. And that's great, because it's true. That physics, you are physically doing those things, but why? Now let's dip down below the surface of what we see. Here is the focus. your focus either gets really good or it's messed up. Well, why is your focus messed up? Well, because of emotions. There's like fear. There's a lot of fear coming up. Well, why? Well, because of the belief. As I said, there's some belief that this situation is dangerous, and that causes the fear, which messes with your focus and tightens up your physical body, and then you get that result. So you can do all you want here, even the focus. You can say, hey, really just focus on the mitt. Don't worry about your mechanics. Focus on the mitt. And if that works for you, do it. I'm a pragmatist. If just, hey, just focus on the mitt and just chuck it. If if that works for you, beautiful. Don't think, just fire. If it doesn't work for you, then there's more work to do. So there. So what isn't safe about it? This is a funny thing. It's like, oh, how am I not safe? Well, here's one more thing that I think is important to know. We have a three-part brain. The cortex, that's the part I'm talking with mostly right now, although these other parts are very much alive and well. This is the executive functioning, processing, talking kind of stuff. Then there's a mammalian part, which is very oriented toward group, which I'll come back, being in a group, there's safety in numbers, to stay in a group so we can hunt and gather and we can mate. So it's very strong pull from that mammalian midbrain to be in a group. And then the reptile runs the show. The reptilian brain at the lower base of your, it's in charge of all regulating activity. What are you going to do? Hey, inject 2 cc's of adrenaline. You're gonna how would you do that consciously? Fortunately, the reptile takes charge of that and handles it all. Now, I want to mention something about this group because here's what I think is really going on with most people. They really get nervous about what other people think, and the fear why you're not safe is that, hey, if I screw up, I'm going to get kicked out of the group. And if I get kicked out of the group, it's like a death sentence. I'm not going to be able to hunt and gather very well, and I'm certainly not going to be able to mate very well. So if I'm an outcast, and that fear of being an outcast, even though rationally you know that you won't be, that your family will love you even though you made a bad throw, you know that consciously the unconscious runs the show. If the reptile decides you're not safe because you might get kicked out of the group, if you mess up, then you've got the yips. You're going to have the fight or flight tighten up and you'll be a mess, no smoothness. So other explanations are, focal dystonia. I read about it. I can't even tell you right now what it is, or some kind of physiological problem. I read an article just the other day where they're like putting splints on these musicians' fingers, and it sounds really cool, and they're having really great success. And so great. That's what I mean by pragmatism. It's like find all these different ways. I'm just for me, these aren't my world. I'm saying it's some kind of trauma. Something happened to you that instilled this belief. Yeah, something happened to you that instilled this belief that throwing or chipping or putting is not safe. So how do you fix? You break the link. Right now, you have it that throwing equals threat, or chipping, or putting again. Some is a threat, is a danger, and so of course your body tightens up because that's what it's supposed to do, to defend itself. Again, we're not geared for this culture. This is what needs to happen. Throwing is not a threat, you know? This action, throwing or chipping or putting or whatever it is safe. It's equals safety. So you're okay. And that's what there is to do, is to change that at the unconscious level. And now you know that at the unconscious level, I'm sure people have said, hey man, you're taking it too seriously. Just relax and have fun. It's okay. Just see it and do it. Just do it. You've done it a million times, right? Well, that's the cortex. You're talking cortex to cortex. You have to be able to speak lizard. You have to get into the reptilian part of your brain. How do I do it? As I mentioned, as pragmatism. I'm drawn heavily from the East, heavily from the West, in terms of psychological techniques and philosophy and approach to go at it. It's a process. I don't have a magic wand. I'm not unbeatable. Like I can fix everyone, because it doesn't go that way. There's just too many variables. I'm more like, I liken it to like a sea captain who, really good boat, a lot of experience, but if he disrespects the ocean and says, "Oh, I mastered the ocean," well, he's in for a problem. So I'm very good with this. a lot of experience. The best thing to do is for you is to get more information. So click to the right, get get the videos and get I'll send you some emails that'll give you some more information. And also that's the first step toward a 20-minute free conversation with me where we can talk over what's going on with you. I can tell you what I'm going to say. A lot of it is that what I put in this video, because I made this because I feel like what I say several times a day in these 20-minute conversations, and wanted to put it out to you that this is how I see it. So that is the end. Again, that's where I'm at right now, and anything that I come up with that can improve it, I will do it, and I do that every day. It's a process. It's very much put on you what there is to do. I help you fix the problem, and that's the beautiful thing is that you end up then with the power to not have mastery with your emotions, but have much more power to create the emotional experiences that you want. And that's really what you want. That's why you play sports, is because it feels good. You love the feeling it gets, and you want that back. And that's what we all really want in life, is a great experience and great feelings. And what I work with and train you in and coach you in is how to put your hands on the wheel, become the driver. Get back in the driver's seat where you felt like you always used to be. Get back in the drive instead of being driven. Like this problem right now is driving you around and it's driving you crazy. I want to put you back in the driver's seat, train you, coach you on how to do that. If this makes sense to you, um, click around there, do what it suggests, and read through the site, and let me know if you feel like I can help you. Thank you very much.